Oklahoma teen born here in El Paso died after being severely beaten inside a school bathroom. 16-year-old sophomore Dagny Benedict, who went by the name Nex, identified as non-binary and used they/them pronouns.
Welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. I would love it if you would help me to grow this channel and hit that subscribe button now. And if you're returning, welcome back. I truly do appreciate your continued support on my channel, and I hope that you are subscribed as well. So we're going to be talking about the story of Dagny Benedict, who is a sophomore at a high school in Oklahoma, and she recently passed away after getting into a fight in the school bathroom. So apparently this incident happened a couple of weeks ago, but we are getting more information about what actually happened. And I think it's really important to touch on what the media narrative has been versus what we are seeing in the police cam footage. So because the student identified as non-binary and used they/them pronouns and went by this nickname Nex, of course the media is heavily leaning on this person being part of the LGBTQ community. And of course, that would be the only reason in their mind as to why this fight broke out. It is the only reason that this story has gotten so much attention from them, because as we know, violence in schools across the country has gotten completely out of hand. There's student-on-student violence, there's student-on-teacher violence, and it's a war zone in so many of these schools at this point. But the media doesn't seem to care a whole lot. About 99.9% of the violent incidents that these students face on a daily basis just by showing up to school. It only matters when they can use a particular story to heighten their narrative about a particular group, and of course use someone's tragedy to further their own objective. So just a little backstory, just the short version of what happened. This incident in the bathroom took place on February 8th. Dagny got into a fight with a few girls. She went to the hospital for treatment, or I should say her mom took her to the hospital for treatment. She went home, and then while she was at home, the next day she collapsed and her mom rushed her back to the hospital where she passed away. The actual cause of death is still unknown, and we're waiting on the full report on that. Dagny's mom said that she had been dealing with bullying for quite a while and that she had reported it to the school numerous times and asked them to do something about it, yet she insists that nothing was done about it and it just continued. And everyone is saying that this particular incident is an extension of the bullying that was already happening. And of course, that it was just because Dagny was non-binary. And of course, the narrative that needs to be pushed is that LGBTQ students are just being attacked for no reason, that schools are not a safe place unless we allow, transgender students to use whatever bathroom they identify with or whatever locker room they identify with. And of course, all of these people in this community, particularly of this age group, are looking at this situation thinking this could have so easily been me if we don't allow these policies to stand. So first, we're going to look at a few articles just to get an idea of how this story has been portrayed in the media and proving that there is definitely a narrative here. And then we're actually going to look at the police body cam footage and see if the two match up. Nex Benedict, and this is from CNN, whose family says identified as non-binary, died February 8th, one day after they told their family they and a transgender student were involved in a fight with others at Owasso High School. Police in Owasso are investigating. It is not clear if or how the fight contributed to Nex's death. Police in Owasso have not called the investigation criminal and said Wednesday that early autopsy findings indicate Nex did not die as a result of trauma. Sue Benedict, Nex's guardian and biological grandmother, told The Independent Nex was badly beaten during the fight with 3 older girls in a bathroom at the school and hit their head on the floor. Benedict said Nex had experienced bullying at the school, but added, "I didn't know how bad it had gotten. I said, you've got to be strong and look the other way, because these people don't know who you are," Benedict told The Independent. Nex was a 10th grader and used they/them pronouns according to their family. Nex did not see themselves as male or female. It says all students walked to the assistant principal's office and the nurse's office, and this is just after the fight happened. Police said, after contacting parents and guardians and conducting health evaluations, a nurse suggested Nex Nex be taken to a hospital for further care. The following afternoon, on February 8th, the Owasso Fire Department medics responded to a medical emergency involving the teenager, who was then transported to a pediatric emergency hospital where they later died, police said. Nex's death comes after advocates have strongly criticized Oklahoma officials for actions perceived as targeting LGBTQ residents. The state legislature passed a bathroom bill in 2022 requiring all pre-K through 12 students to require students use the restroom and locker rooms of the sex designated on their birth certificates. Last year, Governor Kevin Stitt issued an executive order requiring government agencies to identify people according to their sex at birth rather than their gender identity. And of course, they have to bring in all of these things that have been happening in state legislatures regarding these issues, even though that didn't seem to be a contributing factor at all in this situation with this teenager. And this is another article that reported on it. And I just want you to know that they are all using this particular photo, even though from what I have seen, this is not a current photo. But of course, they want, if you were just passing by and scrolling through and looking at this story, you would see this image of this angelic looking student, and they look so young and so innocent. And that is, of course, to really drive it home that these innocent young kids are just being targeted, and look how helpless she is, and how could anything like this happen? So this is another article that talked about the incident and, outlined everything that happened in the school, but the grandmother has a few things to say here as well. I was very open with my children to be who and what they thought was best, Sue Benedict told the outlet. They could talk to me about anything as long as that respect goes both ways. A child needs to figure out who they are and what they want to be, and you cannot force it upon them. Nex did not see themselves as male or female. Sue Benedict says Nex saw themselves right down the middle. I was still learning about it. Nex was teaching me that. This is another article from The Independent, just to give a few more pieces of what the family is reporting and what they have fed to the media willingly. The family said that the facts surrounding Nex's death, some of which have not been released publicly, were troubling at best. The Benedict family called on school, local, state, and national officials to join forces to determine why this happened, to hold those responsible to account, and to ensure it never happens again. Miss Benedict told The Independent she arrived at the school to find Nex with bruises over their face and eyes, and with scratches on the back of their head. And then, of course, it says LGBTQ advocacy groups in Oklahoma have linked Nex's death to the rise of hateful rhetoric and anti-trans legislation that the state legislature has passed. The Benedicts know all too well the devastating effects of bullying and school violence and pray for meaningful change wherein bullying is taken seriously and no family has to deal with another preventable tragedy. And this is a particularly unhinged rant by Oklahoma City Councilor Sean Cummings, as he is literally blaming libs of TikTok and the fact that the superintendent Ryan Walters appointed Kaya Rychik to a library committee for this incident and for the death of this teen.
Is it mandatory? Did I not tell you this was going to happen? Yet here I am again, and I'm sure when I leave, your Kaya Rychik chick will tweet my stuff out again and I'll get more death threats. That's who you brought into the room. You emboldened these three girls yourself. Kaya Rychik emboldened these three girls by being on the library board. It's already difficult to be in high school. It's very difficult to be different. But when somebody's attacked for being different, this isn't even about the death part, because that's coming next. And we'll see who gets charged and how many families lose their children to prison. You are liable. You. So what are you going to do about it?
So we have the mother who can't help but take jabs at parents who are fighting against gender ideology, saying, well, I'm an inclusive parent. I would never force my child to be something that they're not. And I'm a safe parent because I know that my child can come to me with anything. And then we have these columnists and even a city council member who are trying to steer people in a particular direction and, saying that people who don't agree with gender ideology are the danger and they're the reason that this student has died, they have to talk about Kaya Rychik and her libs of TikTok account and the fact that there's this superintendent that supports libs of TikTok and, how all of these things are the reason that there's a hostile environment in school for these students. And they have absolutely no interest in what actually happened in this situation. They're not fact-finding, they're not looking for the truth, and they're not looking for everybody involved to have any kind of accountability. They're just trying to use this beautiful young girl and her tragic death to push their particular agenda and their narrative. And this is where we're going to get to the body cam footage. So first I want to say that this video is about 20 minutes long. And so I just pulled a few pieces out that I thought were extremely relevant, really important to touch on. Of course, if you want to watch the whole thing, I highly recommend it. I didn't edit anything out that's going to change the story. The first couple of minutes of the video is just this officer coming into the room and approaching Dagny and shaking hands with her. And by the way, YouTube, aside from my belief that making up your own pronouns is nonsense, and I'm not going to call people things that don't align with reality, I'm calling Dagny Dagny and calling her she because that's what she is, but those are also the terms that her mom uses and the officer uses throughout this entire interaction, and Dagny says absolutely nothing about it and doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all. Anyway, so the officer shakes her hand and she's very kind, very respectful. She's not confrontational at all. And they talk for a little bit, but then mom jumps in and tries to tell the story for this child. And the officer says, I really need to hear it from her. I mean, she is old enough to tell me this story. She's a teenager. So when these teenagers are a little bit older and we can get the information straight from them, that is what we prefer. So then mom, of course, shuts her mouth, at least for a minute.
And I'm taking this off of what Mama just said. So clear up the confusion. The confusion. When this first started happening, whatever this is going, this banter back and forth between you and the other individuals, did you at any point contact any school administration, whether it be counselor, the teacher that sits in that classroom? Did you let any of them know at any point in time?
No.
Okay. And I'm just asking. There's no right or wrong, but why not?
I didn't really see the point in it. I told my mom though.
Sure. But you didn't tell the school where they could actually do something. At any point during this whole situation, and I use the word loosely, but the bantering or whatever it is going back and forth between you guys. Obviously, you know each other. Obviously, you both
don't know each other.
Well, you know of each other with the vape situations and all that.
No, before this we had no recollection. Before this ISP thing, we never saw each other. The freshmen were sophomore.
Okay.
We didn't know it.
So right there, we have the first inconsistency in this story because the mom or the guardian, whoever she is, had originally said that these were older girls and that this, she pretty much was putting this out there as something that was an extension of bullying that had already happened. But Dagny is saying, we didn't know these girls, we had never met them before, meaning she had never had a conflict with them in the past, meaning that these were not students that had been targeting her or her friend in any way. And I just have to say that throughout this whole interaction, Dagny is the one that is being honest. She is the one that is being forthcoming with the information. And you'll notice that the mom is particularly interested in twisting this story or trying to change the facts or trying to make her daughter out to be the only victim in this whole situation.
Okay.
No, I don't know their names. I don't know.
Okay, so they just up and decided to just start messing with you. There was
because of the way that we dress.
Okay, so you didn't do anything at all at any point in time that would have, even a couple days ago or even a month ago or anything like that.
I don't know these girls.
Okay, all right. So they just continued to pick on you and pick on you. Then at some point, you did what happened? They got up and confronted you in class, or did you say?
And I just wanted to pause it right there really quick. When the officer says that, asks her if these other girls were messing with her, and Dagny says yes, you'll come to find out she doesn't mean that they were like physically harming her or, trying to get into a physical altercation. They were just talking about her. They were saying mean things. They were being rude, essentially just being jerks. So that is what she means. It doesn't mean that there was like something physical going on at that point.
Oh, wait, okay, the bathroom.
We were going to stack chairs, and after we stacked chairs, we went to the bathroom.
Okay.
And I was talking with my friends, they were talking with their friends, and we were laughing, and they had said something like, why do they laugh like that? And they were talking about us in front of us. And so I went up there and I poured water on them. Okay. And then all three of them came at me.
Pouring the water. Because I'm trying to get this in my mind so I see, as best
I had a water bottle.
Thank you. That's exactly. Where did you get this water? Was it a cup you found? Was it your water bottle?
It's my
your daily water bottle you carry around.
It was a plastic water bottle.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you squirted them with water, or threw water on whatever it was. Okay. Then at that point, what happened?
They came at me. They grabbed on my hair. I grabbed onto them. I threw one of them into a paper towel dispenser, and then they got my legs out from under me and got me on the ground and started beating the shit out of me.
Okay.
And then my friends tried to jump in and help, but I'm not sure. I blacked out.
Now, when I had heard kind of a description of what happened in the bathroom, it had said that she threw somebody into a paper towel dispenser. And with everybody that was talking about it, it sounded like one of the other girls had thrown Dagny into the paper towel dispenser. But she's saying here that she's the one that threw a girl into this thing. And I'm sure that that probably hurt. So then they knocked her legs out from under her. And another issue that, kind of a misunderstanding that I had was that, when she says she blacked out, it sounded like when she fell, she hit her head and she was unconscious, but it just sounds like she was just, the heightened emotions and just not really in tune with what is happening. And I think that's what she means here.
And I'm not making excuses for them, but I've seen it happen both ways. Either maybe they forgot, maybe there was other things going on, who knows?
So I don't know if I cut out a few seconds here, but the mom is wondering why the school didn't get the police involved themselves. And, you see Dagny sitting there, and I'm sure that she got hurt. First of all, the mom had said that she saw Dagny and she had bruises all over her face and eyes. She doesn't look to be that hurt. I mean, am I saying that she's not hurt? Clearly she is. So if she's sitting here like this and she didn't even feel like it was serious enough to get the police involved or to make these escalated reports, but she did tell her mom, to me that doesn't match the narrative of this horrific fight that we're being led to believe happened. And the mom is asking, well, why didn't the school do anything? And the officer's saying, well, they're human. They have thousands of students to deal with. I'm sure that there are other violent incidents happening. And if Dagny here is saying that it's not a big enough deal to get the police involved or to do this or that, then I'm sure that the school administrators were kind of like, okay, that, and they are human. Maybe they dropped the ball. And I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying there isn't some accountability there, but the mom here, the guardian, is just really confused as to why they didn't drop everything and bring the police in immediately. So that's what they're discussing.
On this one of not notifying me right away.
I told them
So,
I wanted something done.
Sure.
I said, that is assault. She never laid her hands. Now, she did the water. That was wrong.
Well, and I'll explain the criminal side of that in just a second.
Okay.
But,
but if I tell them, why didn't they do it?
I don't know. I can't account for
I was there,
that.
she asked.
I don't know.
And they,
Just parent to parent kind of thing, adult to adult. Nothing says that you can't pick up the phone either.
that's why I did.
But I mean, before even being here at the school, hey, 911. I'm at whatever school. I'm at the West Campus.
Mm-hmm.
I've asked the school to contact one of the school resource officers. They're not doing it in a timely manner. Dispatch me one out. Then they get on my main side channel. Hey, Officer Thompson, come out just like right now. Officer Thompson, we've got a student with an altercation, a situation that happened at the West Campus sometime today. Can you go follow up now at the ER? So that'll just get me to the high school that much quicker.
Okay.
For your preference. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so I should have went ahead and did it.
If the school does not want to call, you have every right as a guardian thought for the future.
Okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Well, just anything in life, you know.
Yeah.
Now, as to this.
Well, and as he goes on to say, just food for thought for life in general. Like, I'm sorry, but as a parent, this is your child, or as a guardian, this is your child. Regardless of what anybody else is doing, if you think a situation is severe enough to get law enforcement involved, then it is your responsibility and you are fully capable of getting them involved. Yet she is bound and determined to blame the school entirely and blame everybody else. And this is the part that is really, really important. Let's watch.
The criminal crime, okay? This is what I'm going to tell you. Yes, I can technically do a report for the assault and battery, absolutely. Okay? Because it's unwanted touching of one individual to another. They put their hands on you, okay, and it was unwanted. I will also tell you, though, that old saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, meaning the way the courts are going to look at it is it's a mutual fight, okay? So both parties are victims, but both parties are also suspects in this. You get what I'm saying? You're offender as well. So I will absolutely do a report. If that's what you want, I can do. Okay, but I'm just letting you know. If the other party wants to do the same thing, she's going to be, the assault will be on her as well. because she first assaulted. She was the one who initiated it, essentially, because you got freedom of speech. You can do all this all day long. Mm-hmm. The action of physically, the moment she threw that water, you've now assaulted somebody. You made the first jab. Just because it doesn't make it right, but they defended themselves, quote unquote. You retaliated back. Now we've got this back and forth when both parties had equal opportunity to separate. So that's where I'm saying it's not going to be in the best of light for you, but I can absolutely do that if that's what you like.
So I do have a couple more minutes of the body cam footage, but I thought that was really, really important. The police officer is trying to explain to Dagny, and she seems to be more receptive of the information than her mom is, but he's saying, you're the one that started the physical side of this fight. It doesn't matter if it was just water. It doesn't matter how many people were involved, whether it was 3-on-2 or if there's 30 kids involved in this situation. You are allowed to use whatever words you want. Words are not harmful. Despite what the left says, words are not violence unless you are actively threatening to harm someone. The second you involve a physical aspect, like throwing water on someone, and he does explain, it could have been urine, it could have been a chemical, it could have been anything. That is the thing that initiated the actual physical aspect of this conflict. And if you go to court or if you bring any legal action in this situation, that is what the court is going to look at. They're going to look at this and say, who started it? Yet the mom, in every single one of her responses, she's like, well, it was just water. Well, what about the fact that there was 3 girls and there was only 2 of them? And, what about this and that? And she's trying to bring in every single scenario that she can think of where her child here is not in the wrong and she is the one that is the victim. And that's not at all to say, because I know somebody is going to make a comment about this, it's not at all to say that because she threw water at these girls that she deserved what happened, because that is not the point at all. She did not deserve to lose her life over this. But she does not seem to have any argument with the fact that she has some responsibility in this thing happening at all. But if you only listened to the media and their narrative, that is not at all what you would have understood about the situation. You would be believing that these girls in the bathroom were targeting this girl and her friend for no reason, that they beat the snot out of them, and that it was so violent that this teen died the next day as a result. And if we don't pass all of these laws that allow anybody to use whatever bathroom they want, then we're going to have more situations like this, and we're going to have more dead transgender teens. And of course, the White House absolutely salivated at the chance to use this girl's death to further their narrative that this was solely about being LGBTQ, so that when they do talk about this need for policies that allow boys to be able to use girls' bathrooms or allowing kids to drug or mutilate their bodies for their well-being, that people think it's because this administration is on their side.
As a parent, I was absolutely heartbroken to learn about Nex Benedict's death. Every young person deserves to feel safe and supported at school. Our hearts are with Nex Benedict's family, friends, entire school community in the wake of this horrific and gut-wrenching tragedy. I know that for many LGBTQ+ students across the country, this may feel personal and deeply, deeply painful. There's always someone you can talk to if you're going through a hard time and need support.
And this is the kind of person that they would have you believe is the safe person that you can talk to. This young girl's death is absolutely horrifying. But we have all of these people in these articles talking about how we need to make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else. But if that's what they were truly interested in, then again, they would be addressing the violence that is rampant in the public education system right now. And they don't want this girl to be remembered for, the fact that she was loving and kind and she was a good friend who loved cats and she was a straight A student, which are all of the things that she should be remembered for. They want her to be remembered as the LGBTQ student who died because of libs of TikTok and hateful conservatives. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this situation in the comments below. Please hit that like button. Please be sure that you are subscribed. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.